Great. As we've talked about before, we're changing the format, so I'm just going to repeat it just this time. But the idea is we're going to do a status update for our first few minutes. That was part of it. Status of the office, I guess. And State of the Union. So do a status update. Then we're going to hit some AMA questions that were submitted on our feedback site. We have those prepped and ready. We'll run through those, and then we'll open the floor for general questions. So if you have questions, you can ask now, but we won't get to them for a few minutes. And in the middle of all this, we might have some other stuff to talk about. So,
okay, cool.
Status update.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to remember what I gave for status update last time to what have changed. But so the main things we're working on now, there's essentially 3 priority areas. Number 1 is getting all the hardware out. So obviously, really nice that people are starting to receive the geosigners. We're super excited about that. I personally really like the packaging. I think it worked out really well. So that is all moving very smoothly. We actually managed to get all of them now shipped out before Chinese New Year, which was kind of a big deal. So we didn't have to wait an extra 2 weeks. So that's number 1. Number 2 is obviously on the high-fix devices. I'm sure everyone here is aware that there was about a 3 to 4 week delay. Really sorry about that delay. It was just a no-brainer to delay it and actually making sure we can improve the performance. And I know on our latest testing, compared to the other units we're testing against, it actually performed 10 to 20% better, which is nice. So really happy that we made a decision to delay it a little bit, because now it's going to be a much better device, even though it's already good, but now it's going to be really good. So that's prior number 1. Prior number 2 is obviously figuring everything out for mainnet, as we're obviously looking to do that before too long. So there, we're working a lot on the legal side with lawyers to make sure we adhere to all the regulation. MiCA regulation in Europe went into effect on December 30th. So we have a few lawyers that we're working with to finish the white paper to adhere to MiCA regulations, making sure all the technical side is set up, that we have all the security. We're doing a security audit coming up next week. For the platform and everything related to mainnet, working on the tokenomics, which hopefully we kind of landing on something this week, but it's looking really nice. And what we wanted to essentially optimize on the tokenomics side is there was a really big spread between the people that earned a lot and the people that earned little, even if some people had great setups in a saturated area. So we've adjusted quite a bit there in terms of the algorithm, and now it's balancing it a lot better. So that's going to be really, really exciting to actually finish. And then when that's finished, obviously that's when we're also going to start pushing harder for adjusting the last few pieces of the tokenomics, like all the faucets and sinks, and making sure that it's optimized before mainnet. And then the third focus we have is essentially platform improvements. That's what we hired the most recent dev. And there's going to be a lot more updates coming now, because now we have an amazing team that can actually dedicate time to the platform. So I think I saw Simeon in here. So appreciate that comment, Simeon, all the changes. There will be more coming, which is super exciting. So I think that's the general status update. So Mike, we can jump into the questions, unless I missed something.
Well, just to swing back real quick, just on shipping update, and I realized that our announcement on the geosigners, after rereading, was a little ambiguous on part of it. So I'm just going to clarify here. When we were saying that previously we had identified that center pin issue and that QA was going to run through and verify everything, and then we would be shipping them all out. I just want to clarify that the first step was that the factories finish all that QA, and then they send the batches as they finish them to the third-party logistics. As the third-party logistics company gets those, then they turn around, shelve them and everything, get them ready, labeled, and then ship them out with the carriers. So there's actually like a 2 phase part of that. And all of the factory units are at third-party logistics now. The third-party logistics are still finishing shipping, I think, at this moment. I don't want to speak 100% either way. I think they're still processing some of them. So if you don't have your email yet saying it's shipped out, don't worry. I also noticed that there's like a slight delay from them doing it until you get the email. But by the end of the week, we expect all of them to be out, and that would mean that you should have some kind of email. If you don't, I'll probably send an update or put an update on Discord once we confirm everything's been out, shipped. So that way, if you have not received anything, you can contact us. I'll keep everybody updated on that.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was it. So the AMA questions from the feedback site. You want to hit those?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, starting off, we've got a question from Matt F., who asks, will there be an app like other competitors to see the flight data? Will there be subscription plans as well for more data so we can also generate revenue? What's our plans for an app?
Yeah, so there is a plan for an app. It's not higher prio than getting the stuff down for mainnet and hardware and all that stuff, but we will make an app. Initially, it's mainly going to help with station management. Like getting notifications to an app for as a station deployer is better than getting an email. But it's also eventually going to provide a much better user experience as well. So this is more of a not super long-term plan, but during this year, but not at the moment. Probably it would be most likely after mainnet. And on the subscription side, maybe, we do need to implement enough functionality to make it really useful for either like a plane enthusiast or a traveler or something like that. Of course, we're not ruling out having a subscription. I do think that's a good idea, but I think the platform needs to reach a certain, I guess, quality before we can justify having a subscription. But yeah, so they're definitely on the roadmap.
Oh, I'm going to throw out a crazy idea here just so it's on video, Robin. What if for a Premier subscription, if you held a certain number of tokens in your wallet and that could be verified, and then you would unlock the prescription? We all need medication. No, a subscription.
Yeah, maybe. Open for suggestions here, but yes.
I mean, hit the feedback site. There is a suggestions board. If you have an idea of stuff you want to see in the app, obviously we would be open to hearing what you have to say. Next question is from Who Thoughted. I won't say what it really means. So the question generally relays or kind of circles around how difficult will it be to onboard the new HyFix based devices? And I'm not sure either of us have an exact answer to that at this moment. Obviously, our same methodology of what we're trying to do with the GeoSigners is something we want to apply to the HyFix devices and any other approved devices. We want it to be as quick and easy as possible. I think we can answer you, but not today. It'll probably be a little bit down the road, but we will have that answer for you prior to anybody getting a device or having them shipped to your house.
Yeah, along with the guides for it.
Yep. We will have docs. Yeah. We will have videos. We will have talking. I thought this was interesting. We had a question from Costa 3227. Not that his name is interesting, but the question itself. Are there any restrictions regarding military airports? Could an installation of a station be interpreted as surveillance? For example, collecting data for a foreign company. Is it possibly delicate in this circumstance? Should people do it? I didn't even know what to think about this.
I mean, I would not recommend actually sneaking onto a military airport to deploy. But if you deploy, near a military airport, that's fine. There's no restrictions there. Obviously, now I'm speaking for the countries I know. I don't know every country in the world. But generally, like in all the countries that have the ADSB regulation in place, it's not an issue. So most countries, in US and Canada, Australia, because like a military airplane, if they can choose to turn it off if they don't want to be tracked. So if it's an active mission, they will just turn it off. So yeah, I don't see an issue with deploying near. I would not, advise going on the military airport to try to deploy.
Unless you want to make a lot of friends and spend a lot of time in a small confined area.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would not advise it. So the next question is from Wise Silver Wolf. This is a long one. Hold on. The hex that I live in is currently registered to a device. I remember this one. So basically the question revolves around, I want to install somewhere, but the hex is already shown as taken, and it's not reserved for a new device, but it's one of those that shows that it's been offline for an extended period of time, at least 7 days. The user is concerned, participant is concerned that, like, I have a station, I can set it up, I can provide coverage. Is there some way that I can do that in the future? Will they have their hex taken from them so that I can possibly be the provider? And can you guys add an email notification system? And just to bring out the last one first, we used to have an email notification. It will return at some point. It just didn't fit in with the logistics that we had at the moment. It will return, but I'll let Robin handle the rest.
Yeah, but also before mainnet, we will take a look at all of the offline stations, and if we see stations that have been offline for 90 or 100 days, we're gonna start cleaning up some of those locations. But then we'll have the notification before.
Yeah, keep in mind, if you don't remember from light paper and the docs, we have the whole uptime component of our reward system, and the idea is to start you at 75%, and for each day that you're online, you increase one number. It's 75, but it's basically a multiplier against your rewards. So it starts at 75. Every day you're online, it goes up one. If you're offline, it goes down one. Eventually you'll reach 100%, hopefully within about 25 days if you've kept your machine up. But as we do call out at the bottom of the light paper, if you have been offline for around 100 days, we have the right basically to retrieve that hex, to open it back up for others to contribute. So that will be a component, basically. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to read the next question while I'm responding, so I'm not kind of trailed off there. That's probably the end of that one, right, Robin?
I think so.
Butters from South Park asks, when should we expect extended security options like multi-factor authentication on the Wingbits site? MFA.
Before mainnet, and I actually saw in our internal Discord that it's being worked on right now.
Yep. What is let's see, Costa 3227 again, hitting us up with multiple questions. What's the energy consumption of the dual miner? I don't have the actual number. Do you, Robin?
I do not. We can find it. We can find it and post it in the Discord.
I think at one point we were adding it to the documentation under the FAQ for the high fix device. If it's not already there, we will make sure it's added. But yeah, it should be. I don't know if our chat is correct at this moment, but 100% we will verify. We will make sure it's on the frequently asked question page for the high fix devices. I'm not going to say your name right, Exta, but I'm going to try it. Plus in Discord, it's much longer than that. But anyway, Exta, there are users with hundreds of thousands of Wingbits tokens. Then there's newer users that are earning like 10 to 30 a day. And then many users haven't even started yet. Should the rewards be spread out longer than 12 months to protect from people dumping, or maybe just not converted a 1-to-1? And I think we're pretty adamant about a 1-to-1. And I think we're holding strong at 12 months. And I think we've worked through all this. Robin?
Yeah, I mean, I think 12 months is plenty. So I don't see an issue with that. I think it's super, I think most people would probably want them sooner rather than 12 months. But I think 12 months is a good balance for everybody. So yeah, we modeled this a lot, and it looks good.
Right. I'm just going to include this one. I originally was going to pull it, but just for the heck of it, there was actually a 2-part question. Sunil is asking, let's go with the first one. To install the device, do we need to run any command? If yes, can we have documentation? So we kind of already addressed that in the previous answer. We will have documentation. We will have a video, and that will be coming soon. The second question, though, was what is the wallet that you use to transfer the tokens? And I just wanted to clarify, since it may have been a while since we've mentioned this, we are on the Solana blockchain. We're currently using DevNet cluster for our testing. Thank you, everybody who has participated up to this point in our DevNet testing. Realize, obviously, those tokens are not going to translate to 1-to-1 to mainnet. We are going to recalculate everything based on new tokenomics. We're going to make sure that everybody has all the rewards they've earned the entire time they've been on board, not just since we started DevNet testing. So for some of those people who have been in the project for over a year, DevNet testing didn't start till last, I want to say March, April, May, something like that. So you would only have those tokens in the DevNet cluster since that point. We want to make sure you get all your tokens. We want to make sure it's calculated properly. And it's on Solana blockchain. And once we're done, we will go to Solana mainnet cluster. Anything to add, Robin? I don't know if I covered it.
Nah, it was good.
Don Seika. What will happen if you can't install your GeoSigner by March 17th?
Your device will explode. No. So no, but so we have to get the GeoSigners installed before we can launch mainnet. So it's quite crucial for people that don't install them. When mainnet starts, if you don't have the GeoSigner plugged in, you will just not be able to push data, which means you can't earn rewards until you actually plug it in. So you're not going to be expelled from the project or anything. It's just if you can't get it in, and I'm not saying mainnet is not March 7th, that day, but we just want to get ahead of it. You will just cease earning until you plug it in. That's all.
Yeah, so if you put it in on the 18th, you may miss the rewards for the 17th, or if you put it on the 19th, you may miss a couple days. But yeah, you always have to have a deadline. I mean, it's human nature. If we don't have a deadline, people will just do it never. So we need to secure the network.
Exactly.
We only have a couple left, and I figured we'd hit them just to clear them all out. Gacho. I don't know why I laugh at that name, Gacho. Gacho 1855. It's like Gacho Taco. There have been a number of recent UI changes to the dashboard and the map. Yeah, there have been. What can we expect for the frequency of changes going forward now that you have a dedicated UI developer? Also, is there a place we can follow and track what's being worked on?
That's a good question.
How about I try to answer?
Okay, go for it, Mike.
All right. There have been a number of recent changes. Thanks for noticing. Up to now, we've been posting in the changelog or the main announcement channel, depending on the not the severity of the issue, but the public nature of the issue. We've been posting on one of those two channels. We do have the ability and would like to move forward possibly with implementing our feedback board as a mechanism, not only to capture what you guys want, but also that can be linked on our back end to actual tickets that the developers work on. And that way statuses are updated. And there is even a feature in that feedback board. I don't know if anybody's used the site recently and looked and noticed the feedback on the new UI has returned on the right-hand side. And when you click it, it opens a widget. It's a little pop-up where you can interact directly with our feedback board to supply like a suggestion or a bug report. Even has an option there to take a screenshot to give us, kind of some reference of what you're talking about. They also have a widget that we can integrate, which will show a change log. So I think long-term, it would be nice to have some kind of easy to understand change log of what we've done. And that may be an option moving forward, so that it's all in one central place. And the idea would be if you come to the dashboard and it's been a few weeks, it would pop up the changes since the last time you visited. And you would be like, oh, look at that. This is what's changed. Let me read through it. So we're working towards that direction. Somehow, some way, we will provide a better way for you to be up to date. I don't know if Robin has a better comment on that.
No, I was actually going to say it was funny because we've been thinking about that exact idea. So yes, what Mike said. I don't know the frequency of the changes. I think it depends on the significance of what the change is. But higher frequency than prior to now, I guess. But we do have a lot of cool things in the pipeline, so it should be regular, pretty nice updates at least.
Yeah, and just as a note, some of the little things, some of the little things get changed just to kind of make sure that we're not missing functionality versus our old UI. We did have to push forward with the new UI, and I mentioned this in Discord because we had, certain development requirements that needed to be put in place to move forward with other stuff like GeoSigner related stuff. So we kind of pushed it out. There were a couple things here and there, and some of you had commented and noticed them, and they've been fixed over time. So there'll also be some small stuff that'll happen over time. One last question, Robin. So Jason Argos is asking if it is possible to split off the Wingbits. Let me rephrase this instead of reading it directly. Would it be possible for Wingbits to allow feeding of other networks or your own network of the data, maybe not including the stuff that is related to signing or geolocation or any of that, but just the raw old school ADSB data? Is it possible that in the future we can offer that? Because the BYODs, you can kind of do that. Will we be able to do that with approved devices in the future?
So the plan right now for the approved devices is, because the built by Hifix security is a really big deal because it opens up new segments for of customers that the other networks cannot go for, and right now it's locked. So right now the plan is not to allow people to go in and share with multiple networks. Not saying that won't change, but this device that Hifix is building is locked.
All right. And that's the end of our saved up AMA questions. Robin, it is the hour on the dot. Do you have anything to announce?
I don't know if it's live yet, so we'll probably have to wait until it's live. This
All
call
right.
announcement. When I see it, I will announce it.
Okay. Then we can probably start hitting. Man, we've got a bunch of conversation going on here.
I'm trying to get my bearings right here.
Yeah, I'm up at the top around right after the join live now, and I'm trying to scroll down. Yeah, there's the comment
guys,
from Handsome Rob about my face for radio. Yeah, I made the same comment, so I'll let it pass. Actually, Rob, the reason, or whoever asked originally, the reason is originally when we were doing AMAs, we were, what's it called? We were only boosted like one level or something, and If you run video and you have people in the audience, by the way, highest audience count ever. I just saw 78. If you run video at the same time, it limits the seats of how many people can join the actual stage. So we kind of didn't really do it for that purpose in the beginning. And now I'm just lazy. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see.
Appreciate the comment, Simon, on Dev's doing great work. 100% agree.
Yeah, thank you. Everyone is asking what the yellow one is for those three iFix devices we have in there. The yellow one was just the first kind of a prototype, or it's like a mechanical prototype. So we just didn't go with yellow. So it's just for decoration at this point.
Simon, you're asking about the HiFix devices, if it's a proper all-in-one or requires a separate antenna. It is a proper all-in-one. It is not PoE per se. It's not PoE spec. Okay, so to answer the questions one at a time, the base station that's only a few inches across, basically the hockey puck, I don't know what you want to call the discus. I think Grumpy's calling it spacecraft. Anyway, that unit, the top of it actually stores the location antenna, GNSS antenna. And then out of the top of the station is where you connect the ADS-B antenna, or alternatively, obviously, a cable, which then runs up somewhere to your antenna that's already mounted that you've had up there for years. PoE. So there's a connector on the side that splits both power and Ethernet. If you intend to use Ethernet, they run as two separate lines out of that plug. So basically, it is not PoE by standard. I've been talking with someone. I think it's possible that since it uses a barrel connector and has Ethernet, that there's those TP-Link or other devices that are PoE devices that could convert to it. So in theory, you could run like a PoE to a box or a junction or whatever, where you then split it out to power and Ethernet on the actual cable that comes out of the device. I think we'll have to figure that out as we go. I think it'll be up to the community a little bit to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. We'll try to get some guidance from HiFix as well, but it is not a PoE itself.
Thanks, Mike. Let's see. What's the next thing? Yeah, so Andy Pandy asked where the office was. I kind of explained it. It's in the center of Stockholm. Not everyone was in here, I guess, in the beginning when I gave a little office tour. Thanks, Leroy. Yeah, definitely trying to keep it as lean as we can while being somewhat comfortable.
Just don't want people sitting on other people's laps while trying to work. Other than that.
Yeah. And the devs like it a little more quiet, so gotta move to another room,
Yeah, you had a lot of foot traffic at the co-workspace place. Like there was always people walking by the glass. So
yeah, and it was really annoying having to fight the other companies there for like meeting room bookings and stuff like that. So this is just much better.
Yeah.
And then Leroy asked if the new tokenomics algorithm is posted in the light paper yet. It is not. But rest assured, we will let everyone know when the update is ready. Yeah. Record attendance today. That's super exciting. Like it was like almost 80 people in here at one point. It's awesome.
Yeah. Tracking Dorian. So Dorian's asking about the notification in his tracking details for the Geo Center. Yes, other people have seen that. So it's kind of funny. So I guess the sorting center is doing spot checks on packages. Otherwise, obviously, they would have flagged all of ours. Our best guess at this moment is that they seem to think we have a battery in our package. which was, I guess, not allowed or not labeled or whatever. But the thing is, we don't have a battery in the geosigner packages. Again,
Yeah.
the best guess on our side is that the base of the GPS antenna has a magnet, and maybe through an X-ray or something that looks like one of those 2032 batteries, or one of the other small batteries. So as they do spot checks, they're just running it through a machine. They see this disc and they go, oh, it's a hard disc that I can't see through. It's a battery. So the good news is they are being handled as they get flagged. They're being released again. It's just a quick back and forth that has to happen to say, no, 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 there's no batteries. Take our word for it. No, there's no batteries.
Yeah.
Nothing in there is battery powered. So anyway, if anybody else sees that, sorry, I guess it's just a unfortunate situation of this random checking and a weird X-ray vision, if that's what it actually is. But they're working through them. We've had plenty of packages released. It's not a lot of them. It just seems to be a very small, like 5% sampling.
Perfect. Let's see. I'm down quite a bit now on Matti asking about if ADSB antennas are safe or if they emit, but people already answered that it's a receiving only, so it doesn't emit anything.
Yeah, if you're transmitting, you're probably going to be contacted by your local authorities very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for posting the power consumption there in the docs. I guess we have it in our docs. Yeah. Maybe we should have known, but a lot of stuff going on.
I was pretty sure, but I didn't want, you never 100% if you have that little tinge of concern, like maybe you don't.
Let's see. I'm scrolling. Sorry guys for the quiet time here.
How about the payments? Garcom is asking at 54 minutes after the hour.
Oh, yeah.
How about the payments we made in the past for reserving hexes?
Yeah, so as everyone know, we kind of sent out one update about that, and in the document there was that for the people that took the tokens instead of a refund. Initially, we had a thought that it was going to be over 12 months. We did get some feedback on that, so we're looking at adjusting that payback schedule, but we don't have a final answer yet. And then Wild asked any exchanges that we will be listed on. We're in the conversations right now, so we don't have anything, any final answers that we can give you yet. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see.
I don't know. Was that prior to Garcom or after Garcom?
It was just two above.
Okay. Because I noticed busy exec influx mining. Is the UI going to have a temporary hex color to indicate those who haven't installed their geosigner? Public shaming can be effective. Maybe, but
not
maybe
a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. Maybe we'll do like a little emoji on them or something, like a thumbs down. That's actually not a bad idea. Maybe we'll shame them into install this geosigner.
Yeah. If we could imagine if we could do emoticons on people's locations. You could do a LOL kind of thing on you need to install. Yeah, influx mining, the feedback widget is kind of cool. And I think some of the other features that the tool offers in general is going to be, I think, very advantageous for us depending on how we implement it.
Yeah.
Massacre has a question at the top of the hour message.
Yeah, I can't share any names yet, but we will be able to share some of it unless something crazy happens before mainnet, so people will find out. So that will be an exciting day. We have super strict NDAs, but we are looking at making it public before mainnet with at least some. So that will come as well. So that'll be exciting when we can release it.
Lakaka. So the question is basically, will we bring back geosigners because we've got 2000? So if I could comment and then Robin can either correct me or add to it. So we never like had a plan for 2000 BYOD stations. It was just kind of a number that seemed good as a cutoff. And to be honest with you, there are more than that. We did take into account people that had been offline for a significant period of time going into that number, and we allowed a little bit of extra wiggle room. So it's not like we're trying to maintain a 2000 number, and if we drop below that, we're going to open stuff back up. The approved devices are the go forward devices. They allow us to secure stuff. We only made a certain number of geosigners, so we don't want to have to create a new batch of those. That's my ramblings. I'm sure Robin could clean that up.
No, I mean, I think you pretty much said it. Like right now, we don't have a plan to open up, and the reason why is not because it would be way faster to grow the network. Because I know a lot of people have devices that can reuse, so there's definitely a lot of pros to allowing BYOD devices or build your own devices. The downside is that from an infrastructure perspective, yes, it would be better than the other networks since we would use the geosigner, but going with a more of a uniform, even higher quality kind of like locked network adds so much commercial value. And at the end of the day, if we build a whole network with these approved stations, it would be much easier for us to take a much larger market share, which would benefit everyone who's in the community. So that's kind of why we're doing it that way. Not saying it will never change, but right now we do not have a plan of opening it back up. So I know it sucks if you have devices already or you track for other networks. So I am sorry about that, but from building the best possible network that we can and really setting us apart from the competition, this is a better strategy, the one we're on right now.
Yeah, that was well said. Simon's mentioning, wish it was legit PoE, had terrible times in Wi-Fi. Is this because it's outdoor that it isn't official PoE? I don't think we could really speak to it that well. We didn't manufacture the devices. We didn't take part in controlling like what kind of hardware they were going to use for Wi-Fi and everything else. Our involvement is related to the ADSB related stuff. HiFix would have to comment on, I guess, why decisions were made for power and Ethernet. I would suspect there's probably some cost involvement in moving to a pure PoE, but I'm not a manufacturer, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either.
But I think 120 is right. You need a mid-span enclosure, something to just cap it off, weatherproof.
Yeah. Where we are now.
A whole bunch of PoE talk. Scroll by. Should have created a PoE thread in here.
Oh my God, yeah.
Nax BC at 7 after the hour. For BYODs that entered after the GSRs, can we use a GNSS and attach it to the Raspberry Pi? No. No, because geosigners are not just some generic GPS device that you could pick up off of AliExpress or something. More goes into it. They also have a cryptographic chip for signing messages that are sent back to the server to make sure that we don't have spoofing on the network. That's part of our securing the network initiative. So unfortunately, you cannot just use some other dongle you pick up. It would have been much easier on us because we could have just used an off-the-shelf item, but we had to go create our own stuff.
Waga asks, what happens if the geosigner breaks? Yeah, I mean, if it breaks, if it's malfunctioning or something, we will make sure to have some replacements. how that process will look like in terms of like making sure it's actually broken, so people just don't say breaks and they get a bunch of geosigners. We don't know that yet. Probably going to have to ship it back, the broken one, and get a replacement, so we can actually validate.
As far as rewarding while it's offline, probably don't have an answer for you at this exact moment. I've been in projects that do, and I've been in projects that don't. And there's definitely pros and cons to both approaches. And I think we need to come up with an answer for that. And we will.
And then Khaled asks if we're essentially he's exploring opportunities in the Gulf region and Middle East, and has learned that there are certain license requirements before installing antennas. If we have any plans on essentially dealing with that, and the answer is yes. And actually, one person that's in this call will actually come by our office this week to talk exactly about this. So we do have a plan for dealing with that.
Oh my gosh! Now I'm looking through all the names. Who could it be?
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you yet, Mike. It's a secret. But
is it you, Max? I see Max.
No, but it's a good question. That area is super important. So we do need to go ahead and fix that. PoE. I think we're at GOT show, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Yes. So on the status of the GeoSigner, as we make more UI improvements, there will be a status implemented to see that the GeoSigner is actually active and working. So that will come shortly.
And as a follow-up to the conversations in Discord yesterday, for anybody who didn't see, it was related to the announcement and mentioning, hey, there's some of you who have not updated your station in a very long time. Although I'm kind of guessing that the people who aren't paying attention to update their station probably aren't paying attention to Discord. But the point is, we will have something in the future on the dashboard to help you know if you're up to date on your setup.
Yes, that will also come. There's a lot of things that will come. Yeah. The trick sometimes is like, there's like a million things we want to do, and then you have to kind of like backtrack and see like, okay, well, what do we absolutely have to do first? So it's kind of hard to prioritize sometimes, because you're trying to balance like many different parts. Like you have the mainnet launch, you have the hardware, you have the platform, you have the B2B side with the data delivery. So it's just, sometimes it gets a little tricky. But that's what, we've added onto the team. So in total now, between, Sweden and across the world, we're 15. Most of them are quite recent. So the team is definitely expanding. So we're getting more and more bandwidth to actually do things. Where are we now? I think we're now at GOT show. No, we answered GOT show. Busy Exec wants a Hex avatar. Suggestion channel. Add your ideas.
Very good. Yeah. Is the GeoSigner plug and play?
It should be plug and play. As long as your station is updated, then you just plug it in. Should be plug and play. But as I said in the announcement, this new, essentially the software that will work with the GeoSigner will not be released until February 1st. So if you can, we would advise holding off on actually installing it until that day, unless you can easily get to the device again. I would advise against driving hundreds of miles today to install the GeoSigners, just in case something happens, because you think you have everything figured out, and then it's easy to miss like a minor detail. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
Let's see. Where are we? Okay. Atomic Dream Crusher. Yes, we will have a replacement stock.
That doesn't mean go out and step on it.
Yeah, please.
We don't have a ton.
Please. No, and wild. If customers are actively using the data. Yes, they are actively using the data in production.
Okay.
I'm
Man,
still
that
scrolling.
PoE really took over the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we should have a PoE channel in the Discord and can continue there.
can we install Geoside directly or need to wait? Heyman, basically what Robin just said. Wait if you can. By the way, I want to make a call out. Not necessary, but still, I feel like it should be done. We do have a small group of beta testers that help test things prior to them going out to the participants at large, and we don't always get to involve them depending on what it is, but we've involved them in some of the recent stuff, and I want to just throw it out now. Thanks, guys. It's been very helpful. They're protecting the general populace from running into mistakes that we maybe don't notice, especially on a web level for the site and feedback on stuff like that. And by the way, we have heard everybody with the whole orange versus orange on the hex thing. We hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, we will fix. I've been scrolling quite a bit, so I think the next question is from Matti, but I'm not sure. So if I missed anyone, please, type again. But they ask if it's a good idea to approach airports for an install. So if you have connections on an airport, yes. I wouldn't approach the airport itself. I would approach the people working on the airport, like someone in the fire department on the airport. They generally can mount antenna. If you know someone maybe that has any type of ground operations, like the fuel providers and stuff like that, they could generally do it. If you go directly to the airport itself, it's a really long process of getting it tested and certified by them, and it takes forever. But yeah, feel free to approach them, but I would do it through someone because it's quite a complex thing. Unless you know a lot about airports, then maybe you can do it anyway.
Another alternative, airports tend to have hotels around them.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the size and whether it's a huge hotel chain or not, but some of the hotels might be available to it. It wouldn't hurt to have a discussion with like a local hotel manager or something and just open a discussion on it, because generally they do have flat roof situations. They do have stuff already up there, and a lot of them, because people tend not to want to live in their house right next to an airport, it tends to get built up into an industrial area, but those hotels are definitely around in the areas that I've seen, or industrial. Like, again, I have seen there are so many maintenance. I'm taking, for example, the airport I am near in the Atlanta area. There's so many maintenance repair type places around the airport itself. Unfortunately, those do not have a very good direct line of sight, and they're all single story buildings, so they're kind of blocked off. But hotels are potentially somebody you should talk to.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
That's probably a grumpy thing. Did I let a grumpy secret out? He's not in here. He can't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what we got next. Stations are auto-updating, though, correct? They should be auto-updating now as long as you have updated to the latest version.
Yeah, somewhere around 0.005 or something, we added in an auto updater. So if you are running an older version, it probably never auto updated. If you were running that version, it should have already auto updated. So should be there.
Yeah. BusyX says they now see a new install button that has appeared to all my stations. I'm not touching. I didn't know that was coming now, but cool.
No, that's the BYOD thing.
That's the BYOD.
Yeah, Yeah. So on the old site in the UI, under the list of stations, you would have a drop down to choose which station, and then it would change the command line to run the install on that station. Now that's just been moved within each station on the list on the new UI. There's an install button. If you you can feel free to click on it. It just allows you to copy and paste the command line for installing that specific station. Already includes the station ID, includes the coordinates. That's it. It won't do anything. It doesn't activate anything. At least at this moment in time, at the moment of this recording, it does not do anything.
Current version of Wingbits is 0.008, I believe.
Correct.
And Dorian, it should auto update as long as you've updated to at least whatever Mike said, 0.04 or 5.
I think it was 5, but again, if it's showing anything other than 8, it means it's not auto updating. You should do it manually. And I can point again in the general chat after this what the command is to verify, or you can just run wb config. As a quick note, if you don't have wb-config on your system, that's probably a best indicator that you have not been updating, because that came pretty late, 06 or 07.
The Prodigy said he's a little bit late, but it would say something about the date, release date of the device. No, we were just talking about the geosigners that are rolling out, and early on we talked briefly about the delay of the HiFix devices, which will now be in end of February. So no new updates on the device release dates. Next, it'd be easiest if you open a ticket, I think, in Discord, and we can guide you through how to check your version of the on the device.
Hey, Robin, any update on the update?
You know what? Unfortunately not. I can't see it yet. So we're going to have to wait until it actually pops up. But I'm going to see.
I was just curious, because we're down to the last minute of the stage if we hold to the hour.
Yeah. Any last minute questions that we have? See if I'm missing anything. Incom says the new website update shows complete address of the station.
You mean when you go to your own stations page that you can see an address? I mean, you have to be logged in to see that to see your own address of your own stations. And as Ancillary points out, they're not all exactly correct. I think we were storing GPS coordinates before, and I think we ran something when we moved to the new UI to try to estimate the addresses based on those GPS. But yeah, it's not exposed to anyone. The good news is
I can see it.
Yeah. The good news is the only thing that matters for us at this moment is that your physical device is within the boundaries of the location that you have claimed. If it says you're 100 feet this way or 1,000 feet the other way, it doesn't matter if it's in that location, because what's going to happen is you install the geosigner when it's time. The geosigner is going to say, hey, I'm here in this location exactly. And we'll obviously have to do the check to make sure you're in the area that you claimed. And if you're not, that's going to be an issue that needs to be resolved. You have to be in your claimed area to be rewarded.
Okay. I think, unfortunately, we're out of time, so I actually have to jump. But really, really, really fun to see so many people in here today. For the people that saw the office tour, hopefully it was fun. And if you have any more questions, feel free to post them in Discord, and we'll schedule another AMA for next month.
Yep. And we'll be here in Discord to answer any questions, just general chat or whatever.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone. Bye-bye.